Hi everyone. I'm sorry it took me so long to record this video that I wanted to really record a video much earlier. But what happened is that I basically went through a journey. And what happened is that I made my game about 6 months ago. I made a very short game in Unreal Engine, and then it took me 2 months to make the game. I was very happy with the game. I wanted to make a short game for non-gamers that can be finished in 10 minutes. And I managed to do that. And the link is in the description. I invite you to play my game. It's a free game. It's a simple game. So, when you make a game and you make a free game, you want people to play your game. And so I made the game in for Windows. I exported the game in Windows, and the game, although I trimmed it down, it's still 3 gigabytes, right? 3 gigabytes in file size, which is not very small, for a 10-minute game, a game that can be completed in 10 minutes. And the thing is that, okay, I did that. And so it took me a month to figure out how to export a game in Windows. It wasn't an easy process. It was pretty hard. That's why, I have a friend that he says that's why 99% or 90% of people never actually bother with packaging and exporting their game. Anyways, I exported this game, and it's a nice game. I'm very proud of it. And so of course I wanted people to play my game, and it's a Windows game and 3 gigabyte. And I know, okay, well, people who have Windows can play my game. Except that's not the case, because not only the game is 3 gigabytes, it was also pretty demanding in terms of the technology and the soft people have to run the game. So I'm like, okay, what should I do now? As in, what happened is that a friend of mine downloaded my game, and she has a pretty fast computer, and she has Windows. She couldn't play my game until she had to install like DirectX 12 or something. That's not what you want for your game, right? And another relative of mine tried to download. I mean, he downloaded the game on an older PC, a laptop from like 8 years ago. The game didn't really work, right? It didn't work. And so the thing is, or it was really super laggy. So because of this, I really feel and I felt, and from now on, I feel that I don't really want to develop games for Windows, because the thing about it is that, how many people can I reach? Like, so far, probably less than 50 people have downloaded my game. And I didn't want, I want this game to be used by as many people as possible and played and enjoyed and maybe learned from it. So what happens is that, okay, so what I ended up doing is that I looked at my options, and I saw that the only option I have is to go to Android, mobile Android. So, you know, and I became more and more serious about doing this for mobile Android, making this game for mobile Android. And it took me 2 months, and I figured out how to do it. Now my game is in mobile Android. So if you actually click on the description, you will be taken to a place that you can download the Windows high-end version, the Windows low-end version, and the mobile Android version. And the mobile Android game is only 270 megs. But unfortunately, my story doesn't end there, because it's a mobile Android game, but it won't really be worth much unless I can put it on Playstore, Google Play Store, and Android Play Store, Google Play Store. And the thing about that is that, well, that has its own very difficult path. Google decided as of November 2023 that if you want to, decided as of November 2023 that for a developer like me, a new developer that didn't have an account, and has a new account, now I can't even apply to Google Play Store, to Android Play Store, whatever, Google Play Store. I can't apply to it until I have a closed test session. And that closed test means that I have to have 20 people logged in for 2 weeks and then have their feedback. I don't even know what that is. But right now, my game, although it's nice and in Android and is only 270 megabytes, which is, compared to 3 gigabytes, is a huge difference. So I wanted to show you that I wanted to basically share my journey with you, that what happened regarding that situation. And what I'm going to do now for the next few minutes in this video, actually, what I'm going to do is show you some of the basically some of the considerations. I'm going to go in my UE, Unreal Engine, and I'm going to show you basically some of the considerations, some of the things, and hopefully I will make other videos about this, about what to do when you want to turn a Windows game or when you want to develop for Android. What are the considerations for that, right? What are the considerations for making an Android game? And the thing is that, so basically that it would run on your phone. And I have a Samsung Galaxy S9. It's an older phone. It's like 6 years old, maybe 7 years old or something. But my game now beautifully plays on there. So what is that you need to do? So for the rest of this video, I'm gonna go in the I'm gonna go in the Unreal Engine environment and kind of talk to you a little bit about what it is that is needed for that. And one last thing is that I am very serious about getting my game to Android Play Store. And until I do that, I don't feel like I want to start my next game, because this is, again, very important for me to get to get my game in Play Store. And without it, all this work I have done doesn't really make much sense. So my next project, I don't know when I'm going to be doing it, but it would be probably after I put my game in Android Play Store. So here, let's go in the UE environment, and I will talk to you a little bit there. So the first thing you need to understand is that to make my game to an Android game, I had made my game in Windows, but I couldn't use basically anything. Like, I couldn't use any of my assets in Windows. So these are my new assets. Now I'm going to talk to you about the fact that what happens is that there were several technologies that I was enjoying very much in Windows when I made the game for Windows. One of them was MetaHuman. I loved using MetaHumans, except you shouldn't really rely on MetaHumans when you develop for Android. It's way too complicated, way too big, needs way too much processing power. Because when you're dealing with Android, not only you're dealing with file size, is a big consideration, also you care about processing, right? You want to make sure things don't take forever to process. So my MetaHuman had to go. I couldn't use MetaHuman because using MetaHuman means expensive size and expensive processing power. So MetaHuman had to go. The other thing that I super enjoyed and I loved it in my game before, actually, I'm going to show you the different things. Like, this is my Android version that, as you can see, it's not that great looking, right? It's just really not that pretty. This is by design so that it doesn't tax the phone in terms of file size and processing power. Now I'm going to show you how it looks in the Windows version. I mean, look how much nicer it is inside the Windows version. This is the Windows version. It's very nice. It's got all the trees and it's beautiful. When I show you the other version, look, it's not that great. Why is that? Because I had to actually remove the really cool thing that I had, which was I was using errant landscape, right? So I was using errant landscape, and all these trees, you see, they're beautiful trees, and these trees are mega big. Not only they use a lot of processing power, they use a lot of space and size. They're not that great for mobile, for Android. So when you see this, this is very, very simple. It's not using some fancy landscape. And the trees I actually bought, these are all low fidelity, low polygon trees that they don't really cause a lot of trouble with mobile. So basically the idea is that when you're working with mobile, you have to do many, many, many sacrifices. You can't think the way you think when you are in Windows. And then one last thing is that when you're working with mobile, you need to really pay attention. I'll do another video hopefully about this, but the project settings, this here, this area, platform, Android SDK, if you can see this, this is super duper important. You need to get these things right, otherwise you won't be able to do anything. I don't know if you can see my screen. I don't know how to explain this to you, but not getting these numbers correctly, the location of Android SDK and then NDK and Java, JDK, nothing is gonna work. So that these are just a couple of considerations, and I will hopefully do other videos and talk to you more about Android development and all the things you need to do. This platform SDK, this thing area Android SDK, it's super duper important. And you know, if you can take down what I did here, this is exactly what you need. These are the configuration you need. And then, you know, you need to really learn how to play with things. Like, you know, here my tree pack. If you look at my tree pack here, you know, if you look at the textures, they're all pretty small, 2 megabyte or something, you know. And then there is something called LOD, level of detail, and you can even have a file which is quite big. It could be even 10 meg file, but then you can change the LOD from, like, you know, the higher you go, the lower level of detail you have. So you can have maybe a level of detail 2, which although the original size of the file is pretty big. Let me see. You see, so this is imported and displayed 1024, because the level of, you know, it's 1024 by 1024. So it's very small, 630K, right? And if you look at other things, this is for my trees, right? Because I guess one way I can show you how different this is. You saw that also like 600K. In here I was using, you know, errant landscape. As you can see, this is my Windows version. Black adder, these are using black adder tree. And if you look at the textures here, right, I can show you like the trunk textures here, whatever trunk here. You see that? Displayed at, it's still imported at 8192, but displayed at 4096, and still that's too big, right? So if you want, you have to change that. If you change here the level of bias to 1, you see that it changed to 2048. If I change it to 3, see that it goes to 512. So if I go to 2, so this is although the file is huge, 8,000 by 8,000. So then that display is what you care about.